Welcome to Storyteller, where I try to find the wildest story I can each week, and Teresa hears it all for the first time. I'm Courtney,
And I'm Teresa.
and I have a story for you.
Ooh.
Uh, I don't know if you can tell by my shirt. I'm wearing my Valentine's Day shirt. Valentine's Day is supposed to be
Love.
predictable. Flowers picked up on the way home, written cards, kids passing out candy at school, a quiet dinner with someone you've loved for years. And in a quiet Illinois neighborhood in 2013, that's exactly what it looked like. Denise Leuthold woke up early that morning to make a holiday breakfast for her children, just like she did for every holiday or special day. Her husband helped get the kids ready. She got roses and a card, and they said goodbye like they always did. Nothing dramatic, nothing suspicious, just a normal morning in a family built around faith, routine, and devotion. Because Denise wasn't the type of woman that people whispered about. She was the one who volunteered, the one who homeschooled children, the one who played piano for children overseas while teaching them Bible stories. She and her husband weren't just
Those are the
churchgoers.
ones I whisper about.
They were missionaries. Yeah, exactly. They're the ones that I'm like, the kind of couple parents pointed to and said what a marriage should look like. High school sweethearts, 3 children, and a life devoted to God. If you were placing bets on who in that town might become a victim of a violent crime, Denise would have been at the very bottom of the list. Unless you listen to this podcast, and which is
Say,
why what
which one
happened
got
next,
killed?
yeah, didn't completely shock the community. It shattered it. Because by the end of Valentine's Day, the holiday built around love, Denise would be found shot to death in her own home. And the truth behind it would turn that perfect Christian marriage into something far darker than anyone imagined. This is the
Okay, she's
story.
cheating on him. He found out. He went off and killed her.
We
That's my
have a
theory.
we'll see. It's pretty fucking weird. Yeah. This is the Valentine's Day murder of Denise Leuthold. So, Denise Leuthold was born to Douglas and Diane Newton in Dade County, Florida on February 3rd, 1974. The family would relocate to Peoria, Illinois when Denise was young, and she would attend school there all the way through graduating. And they were all like Christian schools and things like that. So it's fine. Denise was described as a happy person and a devoted Christian, even from a young age. Both of these qualities drew the eye of one boy who first noticed Denise in 3rd grade. Denise was 1 year older than him and in 4th grade, but Nathan Leafold was immediately drawn to Denise. He would go on later to say she had like bouncy curls and a happy-go-lucky smile. I guess she was just adorable. Um, Nathan would later say that he doubted Denise, who he thought was just the cutest girl in school, even registered his existence way back then. So he's had a crush on her since
Aw.
3rd grade. Yeah. And she's like, I
Cute.
never saw you. Yeah. Uh, Finally, in high school, much to Nathan's joy, it seemed like Denise finally took notice of him and they started hanging out frequently. But they were just hanging out, okay? And good friends, as both of them were
Uh-huh.
raised in strict Christian homes. What do they call it in the Mormon? Soaking. Is that what it is?
Ew. Yes.
Good friends. So yeah, they were both raised in strict Christian homes. Dating was not an option for the two. Whatever you want to call their connection, during this time period, one thing was for certain. They both were the smitten kittens and they spent as much time as they could together. They were just always together. Denise's mother, Diane, said later he practically lived at our house, just as friends, though. She'd go to his church functions and he'd go to her church functions. So, seems pretty serious to me. I mean,
They didn't go to the
the
same church?
They didn't. They went to the same, like,
Okay.
Christian school, high school, but they didn't go to the same church, so,
Okay.
yeah. Um, and someone who knew them said that in high school when Nathan was a basketball player and, Denise was a cheerleader, their connection was obvious with one on the court and one cheering on the sideline. So everyone was like, "Oh, everyone could see that they were smitten kittens." Like, "We know you're not allowed to date, but okay." So they were described as just a loving, maybe puppyish, lovish way. They were always goofing around with one another. They do sound like awkward church kids. Just gonna say
Yeah,
it.
they do.
Just putting that out there. Another draw for Nathan was that he didn't realize until after he had started spending so much time at the Newtons' residence was how much he liked Denise's parents and how he wanted a perfect marriage, just like he saw it between Doug and Diane, Denise's parents. He said later, I looked at Denise's mom at the time and I saw how she was a woman, as a wife, as a mother. I saw that in Denise and really, I saw that Denise really favored her mother. So that's when he decided that's what I want. I just want this carbon copy of this perfect wife and mother. And sounds really romantic.
Yay.
Again, sounds like a weird
That's
church
not
kid.
gross at all.
Yeah. Denise graduated in 1992 and went to college in Minnesota. Ethan, again, is 1 year younger, but he and stayed behind to graduate. And then he went to the same college as Denise in Minnesota.
Okay.
No one was surprised. Like, yeah, they are inseparable. So, of course, he would go to
But
school the
still,
same
right now,
place.
they're still just friends, right? Even
Yeah.
through all this, they're still friends. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Who knows what they got up to in Minnesota, but none of my business. No one was surprised when the two were engaged just 1 year later. So I think he went to 1 year of college and was like, "We're getting married." So the wedding took place on July 15th, Brenda's birthday. Hey! 1995. And sweet Denise even wrote a song and sang it to her new husband before they did their vows, which it sounds really cute and everything. Nathan later described the song. Denise had prepared a song talking about everything that she wanted was me and that our marriage was going to be the kind she had always hoped and dreamed for as a little child.
Oh, Denise wrote the song?
Yeah.
Dang! Too talented.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just funny listening to Nathan describe it because he's like, "It was about how incredible I am."
Do we have a copy of that song? Were you able
No,
to
I never saw a
find one?
copy of it.
That's
Yeah.
too bad.
I
That'd
know,
be amazing.
I'm like, I would, yeah, be interested.
I need to know how
Um
amazing Nathan is too.
Yeah, okay. The newlyweds were head over heels for one another and settled into married life in their hometown of Peoria. Denise started working for an insurance company, and Nathan was working in sales of some sort. It was really unclear in my research. I was like, okay, he was working. I don't know. Just as when they were younger, the Leafolds were very involved in their church. So now they finally found a church where they could go together. And bubbly Denise had lots of close friends and was extremely close with her family. Like her and her parents were just, and I think she had one sister and they were all very, very close. So, but Nathan felt something was missing in their lives. He had always felt a calling to go into missionary work. In the years following their marriage, the call kept getting louder and louder. And finally, Nathan heard of another couple that were setting up to do some missionary work in Lithuania. And Nathan jumped at the opportunity, asking the couple how they would feel if he and Denise joined them. He was like, "Yay, missionary work." It's unknown if Nathan had asked Denise, like it's through my
That's what
research.
I was wondering. Like, did he clear this with Denise at all? Like,
I don't I don't think he was the type of dude to do that. I think he was like, "Oh, well, whatever I decide, my wife will go along with," you know? And everything that I read was like, it's not that Denise didn't like being a missionary. It was just it was really hard for her, and we'll go more into that and stuff, but I definitely never saw anything where, like, when she was growing up, she was like, "I can't wait to be a missionary." There was none of that. I think Nathan was just like, "Oop, oop, we're going."
okay.
So, yeah. Typical man. But one thing for sure, it yeah. So I don't think he asked Denise, but one thing was for sure, it wouldn't have mattered. Denise was raised and taught at home and in her Baptist schools that she was to support her husband like any good Christian woman would. So I I don't think that if she
Can you
was
pause real quick?
yeah,
I have to go throw up.
that was iconic.
Yeah.
I don't know why my stomach hurts. It's killing me. So yeah, they secured, their missionary work. So the Leafolds started preparing for the next season of their life. They sold everything they owned and they moved in with Denise's parents for 6 months before leaving to save up some money and to attempt learning the Lithuanian language, which I guess is very hard. But so I don't know. There was a couple things that was like, we were learning the language, and then we got there and we're like, oh no, we don't.
Yeah.
And that's how I would be. I'm terrible with languages. I wish I could learn other languages. I've tried, but no, 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 no. Um, their first trip to Lithuania was in 1998, and Denise's love of music was center stage right away. Nathan later said Denise was very musical and she played the piano for the children and taught them songs and taught the little girls, especially Bible stories. Like she would teach through music, though, a lot. And that's kind of how she shined over there. The couple stayed for 1 year and then returned to the United States. Once back, Denise gave birth to their first son, Seth, in 1999. I'm actually surprised it was that long. Like, that's 4 years. These people are
Yeah,
usually
I was
like
expecting, like, 4 months.
right.
Like
Yeah, so I was like, "I know you guys went to Lithuania, but, like, that doesn't usually stop." Whatever. Um
Mhm.
Um, both parents were shocked but overjoyed when Denise learned she was pregnant again not long after giving birth to Seth. So, like 6 weeks later or something. So, whoop, there it is. Their first daughter, Julia, was born in 2001. Denise loved being a mother, and many people speak of how her biggest love in life next to God was her family. Like, she just loved those kids. So, she also loved getting to be around her parents and other family members more when the new babies came. So, she really was close with her family and friends before this. But then, after the baby started coming, she was like, oh, I could really use this like support, around me. And her parents loved having her around, but Nathan's urge to minister overseas was pulling at him again. And in 2002, they headed back to Lithuania, now with two babies. So young, like a
I was gonna
3-year-old and
say,
a
did they take
two.
the babies with them?
They
But
took the babies. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, that gives me anxiety just thinking about it. I do think that Denise enjoyed missionary work and probably dove into it like head first when they were in Lithuania the first time, but their second trip saw her again with a baby and a toddler. So it was a completely different thing for her. And though she would never come out and say that she was struggling with this lifestyle, her friends and especially her mother Diane could tell during the phone calls home. She could like read between the lines and she could tell that her daughter was having a hard time being away from her family and friends in Illinois. So it was pretty obvious to everyone else, but Denise never said like a word against it, of course. So
yeah.
it's really too bad. But even her mother would later admit Denise was devoted to the church and the work that they were doing there, so they stayed. The family would be back and forth between America and Lithuania over the next 8 years. So they just kept going back and forth.
Wow.
Oh, it sounds like so much. Like I can't
It
even.
sounds like a lot, especially with kids.
Oh, my God. William Harper, a fellow missionary who worked with the Leutholds in a city in north central Lithuania, said of Nathan, he was a family man. Their two families were close and their children played together and their wives socialized. Like, from what he could tell, he was upstanding, had it all. Everything was going great. Of Denise, he remarked, she was a quiet person while in Lithuania, and someone who prided herself on taking care of her family. Um, and that the children in the house were always spotless, w which is like, "Damn, girl, you're over there and, like, having to take care of like, it's just so much, so and she probably felt pressured to keep her house clean and her kids clean, and they have to be perfect
Yeah.
because 'cause they're there on a mission for God, like, it just yeah,
And cleanliness is next to godliness. So,
that's true, that is true. Yeah, she taught her children at home, and the children were good kids, well behaved and well spoken. So she was doing really well with like the homeschooling too. But again, that's a whole nother layer of shit she's piling on there. So in 2009, the Leutholds welcomed another daughter, Janelle. Having three kids, keeping a house spotless, homeschooling, and being a devout missionary left Denise needing some help in Lithuania. Like she was like, "Oh, I can't do it all, and that's okay." like, um, one of the ladies at the church that frequently helped the Leutholds with music and other activities had a daughter named Anya. Ina? I don't know exactly how to say it, but I think it's Ina. I don't know. You'll get what you get when I pronounce it. Um, she offered to have the teenager help Denise with the children so she could focus on I can't say it, missionary tasks. Oh my God, another stroke. Having a bit of help allowed Denise to give more of herself to their important work. And later, Nathan said that the assistants gave to those there, of the assistance that they gave those there, they had started a foundation in overseas called Hope for Tomorrow to combat suicide and often bringing Lithuanian women who have just escaped an abusive relationship to the United States in order to help them find God, of course, and a better life. Um, but Denise still missed it. He's like, we were doing such good work. Denise still missed her family and friends, even though they're doing this incredible
I said
work.
that's what sucks is, she's trying to be a good wife and everything, but, he's taking her away from her family, and she absolutely loves her family.
Yeah.
So,
It's like and I can't imagine having 3 kids and not having that support system. Wild to me. Like,
yeah.
oh my god. Yeah,
Mhm.
so, and this so her feeling of, like, longing to be back, like, ramped up really after the birth of the 3rd child. She was like, I I really miss my family. These kids are not growing up like around their grandparents. So all of that paired with the fact that their helper, Anya, was 18 now and making plans to attend college. And faced with homesickness and the
That
impending loss of their
bitch.
nanny. What would you say?
That bitch.
I know. How dare you strike out on your own? Yeah.
How dare you better your life and go to college?
You're so selfish. So faced with the homesickness and yeah, they're about to lose their nanny, the Leafolds began preparing for their departure back to America. They also decided to sponsor Anya's visa so she could attend college for music in America, which they had done before. Like they had done that for people a couple times. Usually there were women like escaping bad relationships or abusive relationships, but they had done that before. The plans were all settled, and the Leitholds flew home to Peoria, and Anya started college in Pensacola, Florida. So they were quite a ways away. So back in America, life was busy for the Leutholds. Their days were filled with shuttling kids to school and daycare and raising funds for their next overseas missions because somehow they were
Oh my
still gonna
god.
go. I know, like, oh. Yeah, so life with
Just
three
wait till
kids
the kids are grown.
I know, damn. I'm sure you guys had these kids really young. It's okay. Like, just wait.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. So their lives were like busy, hectic, and normal. The family was once again living with Denise's parents, so they could really stockpile money to do another mission trip. And Nathan still did some missionary work during this time, taking 2 trips back to Lithuania in 2011 and 2012. But with 3 kids and all their activities, Denise stayed home for these smaller trips. It seemed they were both happy being back in the States. Ethan said of this time, we had tremendous friends and family here in the States, and that's what we always miss the most when we were overseas. Being back in the States also gave Nathan an opportunity to travel to churches around the country where he reported on his and Denise's incredible missionary work. So he's just out here and she's at home with the kids. But yeah, so he's traveling around, he's telling everyone about how they're spreading the good word and raising funds to do more missionary work down the line. They were living the American dream. Like from the outside, that's what it looked like. They were serving God, 3 beautiful children with parents who loved each other. Like that's what it all looked like.
That
Well, we wouldn't
work?
be talking. What?
Did they work? They only did missionary work, that's it? They didn't,
No.
like, have
Yeah.
actual jobs?
No. And so, I was confused about that too. I was like, how are they stockpiling money? How are they, but,
Yeah,
so he was getting paid by their church to essentially travel around and tell everyone about the missions. But he was making like 5 grand a month doing that in 2013. So it's not like he wasn't doing bad. Oh,
yeah,
yeah, but
okay,
that was it. She wasn't working. She was kind of like taking care of the kids and all of their stuff and probably working at the church sometimes because that seems what people are always doing. I don't, it's, yeah.
yeah.
But the same thing. I was like, how do you guys have money? Like, how are you feeding these
Yeah,
children?
I was like, "How are you doing this all?"
Yeah. Uh, the family's closeness was on full display the morning of February 14th, 2013. As was their tradition on holidays, even the tiny ones, Nathan got the children up and made sure each children had a bath or shower. The children were clean. That was his job. And while he did that, Denise set to making a special breakfast for the family. She usually tied it. She was like a Pinterest mom. It sounds like she would tie them to the every uh holiday. So it'd be like heart pancakes and stuff.
Aw.
Denise, you charmer, yeah. When the children came down, they were allowed to get one treat from their Valentine's Day goodies, that they got from their parents. So they got a sweet treat right before they went to school. And Denise received roses and a card from Nathan. That sweet little ritual done, everyone set out for their days. Like, Nathan was headed to church to get some work done. The older children headed to school, and Denise and little Janelle were hanging out at the home until Denise would take her to her afternoon kindergarten class around lunchtime. Denise and Janelle headed to the school about 12:15 this day, and at 12:20, Dan Parrish, a neighbor of the Leutholds and Newtons on West Mossville Road, left her home with her husband. And just after pulling away from the house, Dan saw a shifty-looking man in a black sweatshirt with a hood pulled up in his hands in his pockets, and he's walking the road. That's why it stood out to her because, they had joggers on this road. It was kind of, like, right outside of town, but they were, usually early in the morning or after work, like, isn't usually at lunchtime and a dude dressed in all black. So, she remembered this. She was like, "That's weird." Um, yeah, his appearance made Diane remember the incident because, her first thought was that he was going to rob their house if they had just seen him pull away. So she's like, "Oh God, we just left the house and this guy sees that we're not there and he's shifty looking." So that was another thing. She's like, "I really took um notice to this." Um yeah, her mind was racing. First, Nathan Leuthold, the neighbor across the street, had to call the cops just 2 nights earlier because there was an unknown vehicle parked at the absent neighbor's house. And now there's a hood rat on the prowl. Like she was. She
I
tried to
went
put it
back
out of her
home. "You ain't
mind.
robbing my house, I'm going back home."
Yeah. I'd be like, we're not going.
Yeah.
She tried to put it out of her mind as her husband drove them farther from the house. Nothing was amiss the other night when the cops came to check out the suspicious car that Nathan had reported. And likewise, after the parishes returned home, nothing had been disturbed. So they were like, well, put it out of their minds. Around 3 that day, Nathan was alerted that Janelle had not been picked up from school from her afternoon kindergarten. Figuring Denise just was late or forgot, Nathan headed to the school to get Janelle. He texted her a couple times and called, but still wasn't alarmed and figured she had just got busy doing something or was driving and not looking at her phone. So he would like red flags weren't up for him yet. He just thought, I don't know, maybe Janice had ADD because that would be something I would do. I'd be like, what?
A kid? And that's how kids get left in the back of cars. Now I know. I always wondered. I'm like, "How do you forget you
How do
have
you
a
do that?
fucking kid?"
I never did that.
Apparently,
But
you would do that.
so after picking up Janelle, Nathan headed for the house the couple and their kids shared with Denise's parents, expecting her to find her there, just oblivious to the time. But what he found when he got there was even more unusual. An open garage door. Always but they never, apparently leaving the garage door open for a long periods of time was not usual for anyone in the Leuthold or Newton house. Like nobody did that. They just weren't like hanging out in the garage. So it was to him, he was like, well, that's weird. His spidey senses tingling, he told Janelle to sit tight in the car and walk through the open garage door.
Peter tingle. So this is Peter Tingle.
That's way better than Spidey said. Well, I learned so much. That's nice. So he starts to approach the open garage door, but he stopped short when he saw the broken glass um, that had come out of the door that connects the garage to the house. So he was like, nope. That was enough for Nathan, who grabbed Janelle and went across the street to the neighbors who called and they called 911. On the phone with dispatch, Nathan told them that he thought their house had been broken into and asked for an officer. Once the officer arrived, he found Nathan still across the street with Janelle, and Nathan told him his fear that the house had been broken into and that he had gone next door and feared that there was somebody still inside. He was like, I ain't going in there. I'm not, I ain't checking
Yeah.
it out.
I feel the same
Offhandedly,
way. I'm like, "No, I'm gonna wait."
yeah, no, I don't need to go in there. Nope. Offhandedly, as the officer was starting to head to across the street to the house, Nathan mentioned he was trying to reach his wife, but hadn't been successful so far. He was like, I can't get a hold of my wife, the person who's supposed to be at home and who missed. Anyways, once the officer got back to the house, he like, really, that wasn't your first thing? Like, I'm worried my wife isn't there. Like, he showed no concern for his wife during this period at all. So, yeah, once the officer got back to the house, he examined the outside for any shoe prints, but found none. And when backup finally arrived, the two officers went inside the house together. Broken glass was everywhere. Every kitchen drawer was pulled out on the floor and every cabinet was open. And as the officer walked towards the front entryway of the house, he found 39-year-old Denise face down in a pool of blood. So,
Happened.
yeah.
Who done it?
Yeah,
Tell
so the
me.
I know, it wasn't me. The officers hastily retreated from the house and radioed for more backup. One of the officers pulled his bulletproof vest from his squad car and secured it as Nathan Leuthold just stood at the end of the driveway just opposite him, like watching silently. No one, like, Nathan was just standing there and this officer's putting on a bulletproof vest and he wasn't like, hey, what are you doing? Why do you need that?
What's going on? Did you find
Y
my wife? Is she okay? You
Yeah,
know,
like, nothing. He was just like
this is routine. This is
yeah,
they
um,
always do this.
yeah, kind. So when more backup arrived and the house was finally cleared by all the officers, that same officer exited the house and was surprised to not see Nathan outside still. He was like, "Oh, they brought him back up. I don't need to stay out here and wonder what the fuck's going on. I'll just go inside the neighbor's house." Okay. I would be the most annoying person if this was me. I'd be like, "What is happening?"
The most annoying person, it wouldn't have to be my house. It could be like my neighbors. They'd be like, "What's going
Right.
on in there?
I'd be there with like
What
pop.
you doing? Why'd you need backup?"
Yeah. So it's crazy. He approached the neighbor's house where Nathan opened the door and politely invited him in as though he was inviting him in for tea. He's like, do join us. The officer told Nathan of his wife's death once inside the home, and Nathan later would say of finding out, everything stopped. I'm looking at my 4-year-old daughter, who is the image of her mother, curly hair and bouncy step. And I just kept looking at my daughter and I wanted to hug her and I wanted to just let out all of the pain that was associated with knowing this. Back at the house, first impressions told investigators that Denise had interrupted a burglar ransacking the house. So everything's amiss. So they're like, oh, this was probably, they didn't expect her back or something. Denise's car was also gone. So they thought maybe someone used it as a getaway car and put out a bolo. The car was found relatively close to the Newton home, though, at a nearby park, and not long after the officers started a search for it. So it's 1 mile down the road. I think I mapped it out, and
Okay.
it's yeah, 1 mile. This park is, and they found it. I mean, within the hour of finding Denise. So back at the neighbors, officers asked Nathan to come down to the station for further questioning. Eager to help, Nathan agreed quickly and rode in the front seat of the squad car down to the police department. He spent most of the drive sitting quietly, only uttering one sentence, kind of under his breath, as they passed the park where Denise's car had been located. Again, kind of whispering to himself, oh, the car is gone. Investigators had not yet told him that they had found her car. Nathan. That's
What a
weird.
fucking idiot.
I know.
Like,
Back at the
why?
house, police's initial impression was that it may have been a burglary, was rapidly disappearing. Like, as soon as they got in there and were kind of like looking harder, even a little bit, they were like, oh, wait. For starters, all of the kitchen drawers that were pulled out and put on the floor were just that. They were like put there. They were gently laid on the floor. Like they weren't, and shit goes everywhere. They were just like, like somebody later was like, I don't want to clean that up.
Yeah. And my wife's dead, so she can't clean it up.
Right. I'm sure Nathan was thinking exactly that. He's like, oh, I ain't gonna no.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, they're not violently ripped from their places in the kitchen cabinets. And that was the other thing. Burglars are not usually breaking into the house to ransack the kitchen. I mean, I am kind of a fatty and would be like, what kind of snacks? But usually I don't think burglars are going into houses for that.
They were
But
they were trying to find the junk drawer. Everyone has a junk drawer in their kitchen. They were looking for
that's
the
true.
junk drawer. They
Hmm.
needed
Yeah.
like one AAA battery, and they knew.
I just came in this house because I need one battery. And
Yeah.
Denise was like, no. Yeah, so they are not usually breaking into ransack the kitchen and then leave behind all of the latest 90s electronics, as this supposed burglar had done, not even taking a fucking VCR. That's nice shit, okay? Didn't even take the VCR. What the hell? Diane, Denise's mother, said, I work at a store that sold high definition TVs, and we had a lot of small ones that they could have just picked up, taken away, electronics, Blu ray players. Diane said, none of those things were touched, and I only had probably 3 rings that were of any value, but those 3 rings were taken or weren't taken. Well, why would a burglar know those were the only Oh, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Um, those 3 rings were taken and none of the like technology or anything like that was taken. Well, why would a burglar know that those were the only 3 that were valuable? Why would they take those 3 things and then, not the costume jewelry she had? So, as they're questioning Nathan, he tells detectives that he had a 40 caliber Glock that had been locked away in a box in their bedroom. Um, and it was a 40 caliber Glock that was used to kill Denise. Yeah.
That's real weird.
That's so weird. Yeah. Um, Detectives believe it could have been the murder weapon, but both the weapon and the box were missing, which is very weird. A burglar's not going to be like, haha, a gun to murder someone. Also, I'm going to take the box it's in. And it wasn't like a handheld carrier box. It was like, I think of the ones that my grandpa used to have, and they're like a tin box, like he's just
Like an ammo
sorry about
box?
the murder. What? So why would he take that? And the police thought the same thing. A burglar's not going to take a busted lockbox with them. Like, why is the box missing too? And then there was the issue of the car keys. So Denise was found laying on top of her car keys. So she's face down. Her car keys are under her body. Yet someone had found a spare set of keys and drove her car to a nearby park where it was abandoned. The extra key was later found in a trash can at that park. Curry, one of the investigators, didn't believe a burglar would wait to try and find a spare set of keys after shooting someone. So that's all very weird, too. What? Finally, when investigators entered Nathan and Denise's room, they found her day planner on the stand next to her side of the bed. In it were scribbles of a devoted mom and wife, appointments for each of the children, homeschooling ideas, Bible scriptures. But there was also a note written in Denise's hand that fell out when investigators picked up the day planner.
Did it say talk to the divorce attorney?
Close. So here's Denise's note. What on earth could you possibly be thinking? I can't imagine anything you could tell me that would hurt worse than what you were doing to me right now, every single day. I really don't think that there is anything that I have done or not done that would cause me to deserve this. I have tried to please you for years, for 17 years, and never succeeded. I've never been good enough, never done enough. I know that you want me dead. I'm not stupid. I have been willing at any time to fall in love with you again, but you reject me every time. I wish I could hate you. I've tried to hate you because I thought it would make it easier. I thought it wouldn't hurt so bad. Of course, I couldn't do it, so I have failed at that too. I have been without pride. I have humiliated myself to try to win something that belongs to me. You defraud me and you don't seem to care. Well, I quit. I'm not going to try to please you anymore. I will do what I have to do, but no more of that game. You want to humiliate me by running around with a 20-year-old? Fine. I have borne neglect and criticism and kept going. But now this? How long? How long are you going to do this to me? Oh, yeah, until I break. That's what you said, isn't it? Well, happy waiting.
Oh, the
So,
20-year-old's the gal that went to college in Pensacola.
yeah. Look at
Oh my
you.
god!
Yeah. What a like astonishing note to find. Like,
Holy shit, yes.
yeah. So, yeah, running around with a 20-year-old, you say? I wonder who that could be. Hmm. Oh, so Denise's note in her planner obviously kicked the investigation into high gear. They were like, well,
Mhm.
we should probably follow up on that. They
Mhm.
had to find out who this 20-year-old was and what she had to do with all of this. Detectives started by questioning Nathan on the day of his wife's murder. So, again, like I said earlier, he just went down to the police station. This interview would showcase what a perfect narcissistic asshat Nathan is. It was there for everyone to see. He never showed any emotion about his wife just being found brutally murdered. Like there was no emotion out of him. And his carefully crafted dialogue that he, was to show a man who was a good man. He pretended to be concerned for his children and his ministry responsibilities, but really as he's talking he reveals a self himself as being a self-centered loser who is doing his best acting and coming up very short. As an expert excerpt from this interview shows, he says, I'm not trying to think about nothing but the kids, about nothing but the ministry. What we do is everything is so tight together, blah blah blah, as a family. One thing, it's all a house of cards. She is the main one that holds it all together. So he's speaking about her now. And then he has some gibberish. I couldn't figure out what he was saying. But he finishes by saying, I can't go to Europe and hold with these kids by myself and be full time. So he's like, oh my God, my work of God is so ruined. He is, yeah. So he's a narcissist, and it came out. And pretty much, there's actually one website that I found, where somebody goes through his entire interview with the police, and then he gives it an interview to Dateline later, and they go through that, and basically, there's somebody who can. Really break down those things and read between the lines. And they're like, okay, right here, he's basically admitting murder because he didn't phrase it like this and stuff. I'm not so good at talking. I wonder what people think I've done.
We just
Uh,
think you dropped out of college or high school, that's all.
I didn't. I promise. They even gave me a bachelor's degree. I don't know how. I didn't do public speaking. That's why.
I hate public speaking. Oh,
I hate it. Oh my God. Uh,
I could probably
so,
murder somebody before I spoke in public. Just saying.
just saying, you've all been warned. So he used some of the various breaks during the interview to call the one and only Anna Dobalite. I don't know if I'm saying her name wrong.
I
She
don't care
sucks
if you
though.
are saying it right now. She a
I don't care.
homewrecker. She don't deserve to have
Yeah,
her name said right.
she, she's a butthole. So yeah. Why would this man who just found out that his darling wife, a wife that he had went out that very day and bought a gift certificate to a spa for her for a Valentine's Day gift, need to call and text the Lithuanian college student that the family sponsors in the midst of being interviewed by the Pope? Now, why would you need to do that? That's weird. Hmm. It's very obvious from his interview that his main focus is on how Denise getting murdered has inconvenienced him going forward in respects to his ministry work overseas. And his other main focus is when the police aren't in the room calling Anya. So you can tell where his mind is at. After 6 hours of questioning, investigators assured Nathan he was not under arrest, and he said he was just so tired. He's just had the worst day, and ended the interview. He went home. He's like, I've got to get to those kids. Nathan walked out of the station a free man, but his less than stellar acting skills, paired with the very suspicious finding at the crime scene, made police certain that if they dug into Nathan's life, they'd find more to help in their investigation. And they were fucking right. In the weeks following Denise's murder, investigators discovered some interesting tidbits and evidence of Nathan's behavior. And for starters, they remember the neighbor who saw a shady looking man in the dark pants and the hooded sweater and
Yeah.
everything. Um, Investigators discovered very quickly a black hoodie discarded on the floor of Denise's and Nathan's bedroom. So he's just like, he's bad at murder. He's bad at murder. One thing about Nathan, he's
He
not
does
good.
not watch any murder shows, I will tell you that.
No. He did no research. Yeah. Then there was Nathan's internet searches. If you think the hoodie was bad, his
Oh
internet
god.
searches, yeah, his internet searches included how to silence a 40 caliber Glock, how to kill someone by electrocution in the bathtub, how to kill someone by lethal injection of insulin, how to make murder look like suicide, how to delete history off a computer. He's
You
so
didn't figure
bad at
that one out,
murder.
huh?
Uh-uh. Oh my god. They were so bad.
Oh my god.
Oh, finally, there
That
was
last one had
Anya.
to delete history off of a computer.
I was like,
Dying.
you're fucking with me. Like, now you're just messing with nope. What an idiot. Oh my god. So finally there was Anya, and the unsettling markers they were turning up about her relationship with the married missionary who she'd known since she was just 12. Like, they had known this girl since she was very young. Ew, so now we have, like, a pedophile thing going on here. It's not just, like, dirty old man, it's like,
Uh-huh.
ew. Phone
Yeah.
records showed frequent calling and text between Nathan and Anya daily, and not just like, "Hi, how are you?" Not like, "Well, I'm your sponsor for the United States. Like, do you need something? Do you" No, they were constant, and some of them were pretty raunchy. Um, they're gross. We'll get into those later. But there was a text
We
on the
have
day of
to?
maybe not. Maybe I'll just be like, they're gross. That's all you need to know. They weren't just friends.
Well, look it up yourself if you're really that curious.
Yeah, there you go. Including the day of Denise's murder, a text from Nathan to Anya saying that the Leafold's house had been broken into. And Anya's response, Anaya, whatever, interesting. Smiley face. That was her response. Okay. She knew what was going to happen. She knew. I stand by
Uh-huh.
that. She fucking knew. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, that was enough for investigators. They made the 160-mile drive to Chicago to interview Anya. The 20-year-old, fluent in English for the first part of the interview, readily gave investigators answers to their questions. But as the questions got more uncomfortable, as investigators needled her about her closeness with Nathan, her understanding of the English language seemed to dwindle. She all of a sudden was like, "How do you mean?" I've never heard that word. Let me get my Google Translate. So she went from being very fluent to being like,
I
no,
know.
yeah. And her responses became claims of not understanding and then dwindled to like not answering at all. She would just outright refuse to answer. Eventually, the interview disintegrated into just cold glares from her, with one investigator describing it later as a staring contest. She was just like, okay.
She knew. She knew what was going on. I love it.
So, yeah, they tried to change tactics. You may recall earlier that I mentioned that the doting husband Nathan had gone to a spa to get Denise a gift certificate for Valentine's Day on the day of the murder. Like, you're so sweet. What a nice gift. Well, during their investigation, they learned that Nathan was more frequently seen at that spa, the very same one, didn't even go to a different fucking spa, where he purchased the gift certificate for his wife. He was often seen there with Anya, like all the
So does
time.
he just go and like he goes down to Florida all the time, like just picks her up and like brings her back,
So
or do they fly her back and
I
forth, or
so she's moved to Chicago and is going to school in Chicago now. So that's why. So
Okay.
yeah, sorry, I mentioned that, but I didn't like really point it out. So yeah, she had switched schools.
Okay.
And we'll get into why here in just a minute. According to the spa's owner, Nathan always drove and paid for Anya's waxing appointments. Ew. No one said her eyebrows, so do with that what you will.
Are
So during
are
this
like the
interview,
waning women like hairy? They have like mustaches and stuff. I don't know. We'll keep it at
oh,
that.
it wasn't even her mustache, no. So while investigators are questioning Anya, they bring up these spa appointments. She once again just glared at them and refused to answer. Nathan was also questioned about these spa appointments. He said, "Oh, Denise knew. Yeah, I mean, the part of us sponsoring is like supporting these people. And supporting Anya was the investigator further turned up all that Nathan was like doing. They had a shared bank account that Nathan put money into every month, all the time. So they've got this joint account, and it wasn't that money from the joint account that he used when he took Anya on expensive shopping trips, or to her waxing appointments, or on the trips with him as he spread the good word about mission work because he did
He
all the
spread something.
time.
Oh, I'm giving
He used the
myself
money
the
from
icks. I need to stop.
yeah, he used the money from his paychecks he received from the church, for his efforts for traveling around talking about mission work with his wife, travels he often brought Anya to, not Denise. So one, the church is paying him, like I said, about 5 grand a month, to drive to other churches around the country and say, give little talks about their mission work. Well, he's bringing Anya on on these talks, like. uh, and as I said, you probably remember how Anya started college in Florida when she first came to the United States. Shockingly, Nathan's preaching on missions frequently took him to Florida when Anya was there. Um, and there must have been a lot because her Christian college got wind that she was frequently staying off campus in a hotel room with a man during this time.
Wonder who it
Uh,
was.
Never know. Anya quickly switched to the college up north in Chicago before the college could like formally kick her out. So she was like, "I just withdrew. There was nothing shady about that. I just wanted to be in winter." Like, and during this transition from Florida up to Illinois, Anya even lived with the Leutholds in Peoria before moving to Chicago and closer to her college. So she's living in the house with Denise and Nathan 1 year before Denise is murdered.
Nice.
Yeah, very cool.
There was no
Yeah.
funny business going on there.
No, I'm sure not. Yeah. Anya may have refused to answer investigators' questions, but Nathan may have been confident he could explain away all the inappropriate red flags. But after he was arrested, 3 weeks after Denise's murder, and the trial was set for the following year, the truth would all come pouring out. Yay. So when the prosecution began presenting witnesses, they weren't trying to prove like a single moment. They were trying to prove that Nathan Leuthold was already living before his wife, the life. They were trying to prove like what he was living before she ever even died. So it's not like he was waiting until after his wife died to start this new life. Um,
Yeah,
first,
he was
yeah,
already doing it, and
oh, yeah. For years, it sounded like. First, Pastor David Sexton, the pastor at the Leafolds Church and the church that bankrolled Nathan for his ministry speaking tours, I don't know, testified at the trial that about 8 months before the murder, he had spoken with Nathan and Denise about how it was bad for Nathan and the church for him to be seen out and about with Anya. So this preacher, and many of the parishioners had seen Nathan just like driving around town, which is crazy because Anya lived 160 miles away. Like, how often was she there? So,
yeah,
yeah, but plenty of people, including the pastor himself, had seen him and Anya just driving around, having a great day. So he told Denise too. He was like, "You guys, you have to stop this." He didn't, of course not. Um,
yeah. Why would he?
No. Then Anya takes the stand. She took the stand with a translator, even though records show she spoke English very well, just like at the beginning of her interview with police. She was like, before the trial, she refused to testify. She was like, I plead the fifth. I ain't doing nothing. Until she got prosecutors to give her immunity. So if you're that worried about it, you definitely had something to do with it. Like, you fucking
Mhm.
knew. So once she's granted immunity, she finally starts talking while on the stand. Anya told jurors that she met Nathan while attending college in Pensacola. No, that's not true. When she was in Lithuania. So
Yeah.
she's already, uh,
Yeah,
yeah, and
they
then,
sponsored her to come here to go to college in
yeah,
Pennsylvania
girl,
or
what?
Pensacola,
Yeah.
so
Uh, so, yes, but she then is like, he would come down to Florida, and she did admit to staying in hotels with him. She was like, I did. But even to this day, Nathan and Anya have never admitted to having a sexual relationship. Again, if you want to go out there and find those text messages, they did. Um, so she's like shacking up with him in Florida. Her school learned that she was living off campus with a married man, and she jump shipped and again went up to Peoria. That's how she was like, I had to get out of there. From there, their relationship only became more intertwined. Like they were essentially, he was more married to her than he was to Denise. I mean, they were in constant contact. Nathan regularly took her to the Five Senses spa, and he paid for her massages, waxing, and hair services. So they in those 2 trips that I had mentioned earlier that Nathan took back to Lithuania to do some mission work, he brought Anya along on those. So he's like, "Come on." And another person who was on one of the flights that was also doing missionary work was like, "Yeah, Anya was really, like, cuddled up to him on the plane. I thought it was weird, but I didn't say anything."
he needed
If
a
you see
translator. That's
Yeah.
all.
Mm. Always playing devil advocate, aren't you? Yeah. So they go on, like, international trips together. They went to the Cougarplex, which was, like, her college's gym, together every other week. So, like, he would drive over to Chicago to go to the gym with her. Okay.
That's that's weird.
So sounds like a terrible date, but whatever. They rode horses together in a forest preserve. Denise, his wife, went on none of these trips. So he's always like, Denise knew. I was just taking care of our charge, like we're sponsoring her. I'm just taking care of her. No, no. The spa owner even came on the stand to testify that she saw Nathan and Anya together so much that they assumed they were the couple. They were married. And she didn't realize that Nathan was married to someone else until that day in
Shit.
2013 when he came in to buy a gift certificate for his wife. And the spa lady's like, "Who the fuck is Denise?" we don't we don't know Denise. We know Anya. So then the jurors heard an email that Nathan sent to Anya 1 month before the killing. It said, "You deserve someone who puts the relationship first. There's nothing more important to me than you." Yeah. So just putting it out there. Again, Anya insisted they were not lovers, and her and Nathan to this day have never admitted that they were having an affair. But they were. I just want everyone to know they were.
Yeah. Like, just to
And
clarify, they
only
100% were blinking.
Yes, uh-huh, and the evidence, like, painted its own picture, and the jury, like, figured it out. And then came Valentine's Day. At 3 p.m., Nathan texted Anya saying police believed, like I said, a burglary had happened at the house, and she responded, "Interesting." Smiley face emoji. The woman she
Smiley
had
face.
lived Mhm. The one she had just that she had lived with, she had grown up taking care of that woman's children, like, and she had known her since she was 12. She found out that the woman had just been, like, shot, and that was the response. Like,
Yeah.
oh my god. Anya didn't attend the funeral, which I think is very telling. Like, if you don't have anything that's weird, yeah. Anya would write to her own mother, that things would get better after Monday, which was when the funeral was, and that the children were doing well, even noting that one of the daughters hadn't even asked for her mother since Denise passed away. Like, Anya, you're being fucking oh my god.
You think
Ugh.
her mom knew then also?
Yeah, she did. That is how they, like, got Onion as their nanny because the mom was like, "My daughter can help you. This'll be great,"
No,
you
but do you
know?
think the mom knew about the murders and that's why like, Anya was messaging her and being like, "Oh,
Yeah,
the kids, because that was the
right.
plan."
Yeah. So, yeah, that's a good point. Like, why would you say that to your mom that if you had nothing to do with it or would not benefit
Yeah.
from it, that's weird. Yeah. So, I don't know what the mother knew. Yeah. So Anya also during the trial or even like after Nathan was arrested and through the trial, she remained in daily contact with Nathan's parents who advised her not to talk to the police, but eventually she testifies because she was given immunity. But while she's going through all of this, Nathan's parents pay for her attorney. That's weird.
I feel like everybody's in this. Like, everyone, like, had this, like, "Okay, this is what we're gonna do. This is your part, this is my part." Like,
Yeah.
poor
What in the world?
Denise! Who did she
Oh my
have?
god. It's mind-blowing. Ugh. But the most devastating testimony didn't come from Anya. It came from a jail inmate, a man who spent hours talking to Nathan inside the Peoria County Jail. At first,
Oh, because
Nathan
he's such
asked
a
him,
narcissist, he just said everything, huh?
"Oh, you bet." He started he
Fucking
started
idiot.
nonchalant. He was like, "I have some hypothetical legal questions for you, other guy in the jail." Yeah, and, eventually, just as you said, it went up from there. Eventually, the inmate told him, "If you want my help with your hypothetical legal questions, you're gonna have to be honest, 100% honest." And Nathan shook his hand and started talking, just yapping. According to the inmate, Nathan said Denise was overbearing and he had met someone else. A student named something like, I don't know, Anna or Lana or something like that. And then Nathan described the murder to the inmates. He gave Denise's Valentine's gift that morning so everything would look normal, like he had planned it out. Later, he parked his car at Robinson Park to separate himself from the house. He walked back through the woods, like he laid it all out. When he got to the house, he hid inside a closet and he waited for Denise to come home. And when Denise came home, they argued and he shot her in the head, specifically the left side and all of that. The left side thing, I don't think was released to the media. So even if this inmate was like just trying to make this up as he went, that would be a long
Mhm.
shot for him to get where she was shot. So, afterward,
Yeah.
where Nathan said that he drove around to a car wash, a business, and a Starbucks, deliberately placing himself in public so people could later confirm seeing him. But he did, like, a really bad job. He, like, went to Starbucks at, like, 11:45 or something, and then he goes home to kill his wife, and then he goes back to the same Starbucks at, like, 12:45, like, an hour later. So there's still, like, an hour or 90 minutes where it's just, like, he's so bad at murder. So bad.
I said
Um,
he obviously did not watch any shows.
no. Mm-mm. Um, so yeah, so he's telling him everything, and then he finally tells this inmate he chose Valentine's Day to kill his wife as a present to the other woman.
Oh my god.
He sucks.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Oh, awful. I could have the note in this story, and then that I'm like, what? Like that is so messed up. So messed up. Ugh. He even goes on to like shoot the shit about his other, how he might have killed her. He considered poisoning Denise first, and he researched insulin and potassium before deciding on a gun and looking for silencers. All things that are backed up by his fucking, internet searches, you dumbass. The inmate was like, yeah. Go on. Yeah. He wrote down everything and he turned it over to detectives. By the end of the testimony, prosecutors weren't arguing that it was a burglary went gone wrong. They were arguing a timeline. This was so planned out. He had a relationship he prioritized over his wife, a wife he didn't want anymore, a symbolic date, February 14th, and an alibi created like way in advance. Like they were like, this guy not only did it, but he planned it so much and they succeeded. Um, the jury agreed. And Nathan Leuthold was convicted of first degree murder for the wife or his murder of Denise, and he was sentenced to 80 years. Thank God.
Yay.
Yeah. The man of God is serving his sentence at Menard Correctional Center in Illinois. And he won't be eligible for parole until 2093, which is so funny to me. Like, you're gonna
Is
die
he
in
still
there.
doing ministry work in prison? I bet he is, isn't
I
he?
I haven't heard that, but I would not be surprised at all.
Yeah,
You
I
know
bet he
he
is.
probably is. Yeah. So during the sentencing phase, the judge in his case had some stern words for Nathan. The judge said, I have to give you credit. You were led a law abiding life, and for many years you did good things, but you have poisoned it all. You have none of that matters, essentially. Judge Lyons said to Leuthold before delivering his 80-year sentence. Um, he told Leuthold that he thought he was a thief for robbing these children of their mother, as well as taking Denise away from the rest of her family who loved her dearly. Like, oh, he sucks. In a statement from Denise's parents, they were too upset to go to the sentencing, so somebody else read the statement. They said, "We are repulsed at this calculated evil scheming. He has robbed us of our daughter for the rest of our life. We've had to wrestle with Nathan's hypocrisy in claiming to be a man of God." And I think that statement sums up pretty well so many people who do terrible things but hide behind their religion or they're standing in the church. I mean, we've even covered some on this. So it's not it's not good. Yeah, there's just so many stories of people doing horrid things and getting away with it or evading punishment for so long because they have the shield of faith in front of them. And it's
Yep.
just something I don't I hate that I'm cynical like that, but I am now at this point in my life whenever somebody's like, "I'm a devout church," just way
Yeah,
over
no,
the I'm
I'm
kinda like
exactly 100% the same way.
I'm like,
I have a hard problem because if you ask a like devout Christian person right now, if they were to
"Mm,
choose between us and that fucker, which one's going to heaven and which one's going to hell, we're going to hell. And he's
yeah,
going to heaven because he still has God in his heart. Doesn't
right,
matter that he killed someone and it's he has God in his heart, so he's going to
right."
heaven.
I I totally agree with you, and I feel like people are just like, "I have a free pass to do whatever the fuck I want because I have God in my
Mhm.
heart. I've been
Yeah.
saved, so I'm gonna go do all this despicable shit."
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Ugh,
I just try to live a nice, like,
yeah.
good life and try not to harm people.
Right. That's totally
And I'm
fine.
going to
Oh
hell
my
for it.
God. So,
Which,
yeah.
I'm okay with because at least all my friends will be with me. So I'm cool with going to hell.
Yeah. I'm glad in the case of Denise Leuthold's murder, though, her douchebag husband, who killed her as a present for his mistress,
That is
was at
so
least brought to
disgusting.
justice. Oh, it's so gross. Like
Yeah.
you Ooh. Uh, um, yeah, I'm glad that he was brought to justice. And as the judge said, you will end your life in a cold and gray and isolated Illinois penitentiary. Well, you will be more of a number than a name. And that was how he sent him off to prison. He was like,
Okay, so what happened to the girlfriend? Is she still here in the States or did she get shipped back to Lithuania?
she did have to go back to Lithuania, but she has no repercussions. And
Yeah, because she has immunity.
right? And
That's why I
you
was hoping
know
she'd at least
that
get shipped back to, you know,
she did. So she goes back to Lithuania, and everyone there, like her family and people that know them, apparently are like, oh, she didn't do anything wrong. She didn't understand what was going on. This is all a big misunderstanding. They're like, well, those Americans twisted it. So everyone there, she's got the support of everyone there.
damn.
So guess who's probably not gonna is probably gonna get up to some other shit over there that we'll never know about because she's never had any repercussions. So, ugh.
Yeah.
But that is the story of the Valentine's Day murder of Denise Leuthold by her gross pedo man of God husband.
It's gross.
In honor of Casey's birthday and Valentine's Day. You're welcome.
Happy birthday, Casey. Casey fucking Wilson.
He is. Oh man. Yeah, I told him, I was like, we're doing a Valentine's Day murder for your birthday. And he's like, what? Why?
It's like, no, we're not doing one. We're
Yeah.
covering one on the
Or
podcast.
yeah, I was like, no, 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 no. He's like, well, as long as I'm not being murdered. I was like, no, I don't like blood.
I just don't want to clean it
Uh,
up.
Thank you so much for listening to Storyteller. Tell your weird friends and join us on the Instagram on storyteller.pod, TikTok at storytellerpod, Facebook at storyteller podcast. And be sure to follow, like, comment, and download the podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yay!